Motivation. I'm motivated. But what do you do when motivation is not enough? You rely on your work ethic. You rely on your discipline. That's my mentality. Now let's get it.
The stage, please welcome Julian Peters.
What's going on, everybody? This is Julian back with my Mentality podcast. For those listening, welcome back to my voice. And for those watching, say hi to my beautiful face. Today, we have special guests. I can't say your last name correctly, so I'm not going to butcher it. I'm going to let you say it. But Miss Angela
Ruscilli.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, no, like, are you silly?
Are you? Okay. Yeah, that's easy. So, Miss Ruscilli is one of my teammates actually on Team Legacy. She is a IFBB Pro bikini competitor. For those of you that are watching, I guarantee you there's no way you would get her age correct by looking at her. There's absolutely no way. Do you want to tell them how old you are?
No.
No? We're going to make them guess. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So, with that being said, how's
We just don't have to tell them.
Yeah, no, don't tell them at all. So, how's everything going?
Good. I'm getting ready to go to Tampa for Tampa Pro. I won the show last year, so hopefully I will defend my title.
Oh, so you're defending title, and you just won a show, what, like a week or two ago?
Yeah, Pittsburgh Masters Pro. I won the over 40 and the over 50, but I guess that gives away my age.
Just gave away your age. There you go. So for those watching, over 50, it's not believable. I don't believe it still.
I'm not over it. I'm right on it.
You're on it. So you just turned.
I turned 50 in February.
Wow. Like I said, I don't know what fountain of youth you found, but continue to take from there and maybe share your tips one day.
Drink a lot of water.
Right. So how long have you been competing?
That's crazy. I've been competing since 1991. So 30 years.
So
I mean, I took some time off, but
right. And 91 bikini wasn't a thing.
No, just bodybuilding. That's all there was.
Right. So you started off as a bodybuilder.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay. And what got you into that? Because that's not really the normal,
No. I was in a car accident when I was 16, and I suffered a severe brain injury and was in a coma for about 8 days. When I woke up, I was paralyzed on the left side of my body. A friend took me to the gym. I was in PT, OT, and speech for about a year. And it took a while to get everything back, but I did. And I managed to get into PT school. When I was in PT school, or even before that, someone introduced me to the gym. And I didn't really have to think when I was in the gym. I just had to move. And it was fun to see what I could and couldn't do. And I couldn't do a lot. And I had a lot of imbalances because I've always been right-handed, but now my left side of my body wasn't really functioning very well. But, I just kept going, and I didn't have to think in there. And it was kind of like my haven, and I loved it. So I just did it religiously. And then when I was in college, I kind of gained freshman 30.
Same here.
and I started working out again, and I met a guy who was bodybuilding and just kind of got into it. And then I started competing, and it was really cute because my first show, I weighed 114, which is about what I weigh right now. And I looked like the bikini competitor when bikini first started.
Right.
So, and then, it took me years, and then I kept competing through college, and then I competed in a couple more shows after college. And then I stopped for about 7 years to develop my PT skills, have a life. Then I met someone and wanted to have kids. So I decided, I'm going to start competing again. So that was back in 2000 and 2001. And I did a couple shows, and then I had a child at 2002 and then 2004. And then I started competing almost right after that in 2006.
Right.
So I think my youngest was 15 months old and I started competing again in bodybuilding. That's about when figure first came on board.
Okay.
Figure and fitness, actually. I'm not sure. I think fitness came first.
I think fitness came first.
Yeah, it did. And my goal was I really wanted to do fitness, but I didn't have, I don't know if you're familiar with head injuries, but I didn't have the self-confidence in myself to try it. And in high school, I cheered and I played soccer, which is how I got my legs. And I couldn't do anything like that. I couldn't do back handsprings, couldn't do flips anymore, couldn't do anything because of my weakness. So I stayed in bodybuilding and then eventually switched to, got to a national level, went to Team U for bodybuilding and got dwarfed. I think I was the only natural competitor there.
Right.
Oh, well, that and the person that took last. I didn't take last. That was my goal.
Right.
At that time I was training with Mike Davies as well. And he's like, this is going to be an eye opener for you, Angela. And I'm like, I know. Cause I'm 30 at this time. I'm already 33 when I started back, after having kids. And, wow, it has been a whirlwind since I've not stopped.
Right.
I did bodybuilding for a couple more years, then switched to figure in 2008. I almost went pro several times in figure, won the Arnold amateur overall title in figure.
Wow.
But that's again when it was smaller,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then in 2014, it just morphed. I took second in the open as a masters competitor 3 years in a row at North Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally last call out, and I was like, I think they're trying to tell me something. So I ended up stopping coaching with Mike and started coaching on my own. And then I switched over to Mike Eli and switched to bikini and went pro, like right away. So I've been pro since 2016.
Nice.
Met my current coach in 2017. Didn't start coaching with them until 2018, and I've been with Team Legacy since.
Nice. So, I want to kind of talk about, and I think it's a good topic to speak on, which is juggling being mom and handling work, because you own your own thing, you're doing your own thing, and being a bodybuilder. And like, I know we've talked and you're like, yeah, I'm up at 3:30 working out. I'm just like, wait, what? Like, so how is that, being able to juggle those three things? Because you're really wearing like three different hats every day.
I was married for 17 years, got divorced in 2016, right before going pro. And I've been on my own with the boys ever since. And so I decided to stop training in a gym. I train solely in my basement. Every now and then I'll go into the gym just for change of scenery, but that's like maybe twice a month, sometimes more, but usually no more than once a week or once every other week. And I get up at 3:30 in the morning, religiously drink my coffee, train, go to work for 10 hours, come home, immediately start taking care of the boys. Luckily for me, they both drive now. Mm-hmm. So it's not as crazy as it was when I was trying to juggle work, training, taking them to and from all their activities. I'm telling you, it does take a village. And a lot of my friends kind of helped out with driving and getting them where they needed to be because I was working.
Right.
Working some days from 6:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night, and some days from 7:30 in the morning until 6:37 at night. And then I come home and I'm exhausted, so I don't want to train then. I might spend 2 minutes posing one go round. I feel bad because my teammates are like, oh yeah, I practice 45 minutes a day. And I'm like, oh geez, I wish I had 45 minutes in my day to practice.
Right.
But we find time for those things that we want to do, right? So
most definitely. So I mean, you talked about the village. So obviously, like you said, you have people helping. But what can you credit to staying focused on, being prepared for a show and planning the activities, the doing the thing? Are you an organized person? Do you have a planner? Like, what are you doing to stay on track?
My phone lists. The hardest part is leaving, making sure there's food in the house for the boys. They'll go to their dad's on the weekend, but they only go there for every other weekend. And my oldest is actually old enough to stay home. They're both old enough to stay home.
Right.
But their father doesn't really like it when they stay home by themselves. So, they're the youngest especially is pretty good about making food and whatnot, and the oldest will just go out and buy it,
Right.
and then expect me to pay him back, of course. but still, logistically, making sure everything is set so that I can leave. That's the hardest part. Making
Right.
sure the house is cleaned up, that there's food stocked in the pantry and in the refrigerator, and making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, because Lord knows it's difficult to keep track of these two.
Right.
Oh,
You're
I just
fine.
lost you.
No, you're good.
There you go.
Yeah, it happens. So if your screen times out, that'll happen. No worries. Click it back. But so when you're traveling for a show, what's that like?
Honestly, that's why I still do it, because it's distraction. No distraction, right? I get to go, and I usually leave a day, sometimes too early, and just to relax, because I'm up at 3:30 and I'm not in bed till 10 on most days, and it's just to have quiet. It's always nice to room with people and to know people and see people, but I take a book and I relax and I sleep. But part of me feels like I'm missing out on a lot, but the other part of me is like, this is what I want. I think my kids really keep me on track too, because I know that even though I might embarrass them, I know that they're proud of me. So
Right, for sure. I'm a mama's boy myself, so my mom's different. She does cakes and she bakes, but like everything she posts, I'm sharing. That's my mama, and she's embarrassed too. So that's just part of that's just part of it. So, and how is prep going? So I know you just did a show. How's prep going? Any changes? Like, what are you going through on that end?
We don't change much. I mean, honestly, my diet from the beginning of the year and my off season really has not changed much. I changed what I'm doing for breakfast just because I know that certain foods kind of bloat me, but I just do that like the week before the show. So I'm still doing what I was doing before.
Right.
And, I have a habit of training too hard.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of inflammation.
Yeah.
So lately, my biggest change up is I've been doing cold baths.
Okay.
I recently purchased a newbie for my patients, and I've been using that a lot to train with. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's an amazing direct current stimulator that I can map out pain pathways and figure out where your brain is not allowing your body to utilize extra muscle fibers, where it perceives threat. So by mapping that out and then working the patient through it and then working them with the direct current, I can recruit way more muscle fibers.
Wow.
But in doing that to myself, I make myself super sore very easily.
Right.
And I forget how long it's been on me. And you're not really supposed to have it on for more than 5 minutes. And an hour later, I'm like, oh my goodness, I just gained about 3 pounds of water.
I feel like I've seen that recently on YouTube. I think Dexter Jackson was using something like that for his last prep. It's like they stick it on those areas and then you work out, and he talked about how crazy it was. So
yeah, you don't have to use a lot of weight,
right?
And you get maximum benefit
because you're recruiting. What he was saying.
Right. Your body, the brain only allows you to recruit about 40% of your muscle fibers.
Wow.
Especially after injury, that decreases because your brain is, oh no, we're not going there.
Right.
But what the machine does is it through afferent input or sensory inputs, it forces the muscles to contract, and then the brain realizes, oh my gosh, this is a heavier load. I need to recruit more muscles so that they don't hurt themselves. And then that's how the neuromuscular reeducation occurs. So I've been doing that in hopes to help my glute size. I don't know if it's working, but.
So, and would you say that being in PT, going to PT school has helped you a lot in your bodybuilding career?
I think it has, because I don't injure. I mean, when I stopped training with other people and started training myself, my injuries decreased big time.
Mm-hmm.
I know my doctor kept saying, "Why are you training with these people? You know as much as they do. Why aren't you doing it yourself?" And well, now I am, and I think it has been very beneficial because I use better form. I'm very strict with my form. I don't hurt myself as often. I'm not in a hurry because I'm in the basement by myself. So it's not like I'm trying to show anyone up or compete with anyone, because it's just me.
Right.
But if I want to go down in my PJs, I can go down in my PJs.
Right.
So sometimes I do.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I used to do that for
No.
cardio. So I used to have my own little stair stepper, like the old school though, like the 90s Ghost Gym one, that the two pedals
Yeah.
that go up and down like that. And I would literally, like you said, wake up, coffee. I'm in my Batman pajama pants and a hoodie in the garage, and we would go and get it done. But it was so convenient instead of having to
Right.
drive. So yeah, I understand. But with the staying on the physical, or not physical, on the PT, the physical therapy and all those things, and you're working and you're doing that, what is your target audience in that?
At the clinic that I work, it's anyone.
Okay.
I see ages from 94 to 11. And even here, my practice is mainly athletes. So I see a lot of football players, a lot of basketball players, baseball players, gymnasts. And I used to see a lot more, but now that I'm so busy at work at the clinic, my practice has kind of gone down a bit because I can't afford to be busy. But one of these days I'm going to pick it back up. And now that I have the newbie, I'd like to reach out more to neurological problems like MS,
right,
and brain injuries, because this machine is amazing. Even spinal cord injuries have noticed a lot of remarkable increases in strength, whereas nothing else really helped.
right.
So I'm excited to see how many I can help doing that, you know?
So and I'm really interested because it's crazy that I'm talking to you and we're talking about this because I've recently just changed my split based on recovering. I was talking to Micah. I don't know. He's on our team, Micah Thomas. And we were both talking about, like, me and him kind of pride ourselves on lifting heavier weight. We don't do the medium stuff. Like, we lift heavy. And it was like, it's my body recovering by me doing these 6 days a week, or these, 3 days on or whatever. And so what I started doing was basically I'm doing chest. I did chest Saturday. I took off Sunday. I did back Monday. I'm taking off today. And then I'll do legs. And I've already noticed that I feel better going into the gym the next day because I've recovered. So I'm performing even better because I've rested and I'm not continuing to, I guess, put trauma. Would that be the right thing to say, on my muscles and on my fibers? So can you kind of, I guess, lead me in a direction of how that's a correct approach, a wrong approach, or what you would do?
You know, everyone is different, and it just depends on how developed you are and how quick your body can recover. I generally, for a long time, especially when I was bodybuilding, I only worked each body part once a week.
Right.
And then I started working legs twice a week. And then it was 3 times a week, right? But for bikini, our chests don't really matter.
Right.
Our back does, but I, like you, am a muscle head.
Right.
I come from a bodybuilding background, so it used to be rep after rep after rep after rep. But for me, now that I'm older, especially, my best thing is to go heavy, get it done, get in, get out.
Right.
You know, so I might only do, I'm not squatting anymore, which sucks. I haven't squatted in probably 6 months. A hip thrust pretty heavy though.
There you go.
But like for me, I do upper body. My split is now, instead of each body part by themselves, it's upper body twice a week, glutes and hamstrings every other day.
Okay.
And that's only because our coach wants me to do it every other day.
Right.
But, you know, he's always like 20 minutes. And I'm like, my 20 minutes ends up being an hour. And I don't go easy either. So I do notice, especially if I use the newbie, I will be sore. So I'll end up taking off like the whole week. But I do think that recovery is so necessary. And so doing a split like what you're doing, I think you're going to find more growth potential. When I quit competing, I probably will still do upper body twice a week, lower body maybe twice a week. But like, I don't go at it as hard as I used to.
Right.
You know, my goal is always, okay, I'm going to see if I can do 15 wide grip pull-ups.
Right.
That's my goal.
Yeah. So that's where, I mean, that's literally, I did deadlifts a couple weeks ago and I went crazy and I hit 545 for like 4.
Nice.
Yeah. But I tried to do back again 2 days later and I couldn't move. And I'm like, I'm in the gym and I'm just like, my back is on fire right now. Not because I was working out.
Right.
Go ahead.
Do you deadlift with back or do you deadlift with legs?
I deadlift with back.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I've done both.
And a lot of people do.
Yeah, I now deadlift with legs. I don't deadlift with back because it makes me too sore.
So I deadlift with back, but so you could kind of call it push pull because I do hit like my rear delts. I'll hit that a little bit, and then I'll hit a bicep if I need to. Coach told me don't work arms, so like I really don't anymore. And I'm okay with that. Either. Yeah, I hate arms, so I'm kind of okay with that.
I used to. My arms are huge for a bikini girl.
They are.
And I don't even work them.
We're going to talk about that in a little bit because your overall like conditioning in general is very, it's very different than what I've seen from most bikini people. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. What I was getting at is
because I'm old.
When I get like I only do 3 or 4 exercises. So if I'm doing deadlifts, I'm doing that at the beginning of my workout because I've tried it at the end and I damn near pulled something. I'll never do that again.
That's bad.
And I start off with wide grip pull downs just to get a little blood flow, go straight into deadlifts. I'll hit a seated row and a rear delt movement and I'm out of there. So I do it on back day, but I don't feel like I'm going hard, but I'm not like over exhausting. I'm not putting a whole bunch of volume on that day. I have 2 sessions is what I call it. So there's session A and B. B is going to be more of my volume session. And of course I'm not deadlifting. So that's kind of where I do back that way. I know some people do deadlifts for like leg day when it's mostly hamstring or posterior based. They'll throw deadlifts in there. I don't.
See, I don't do anything anterior based. It's all posterior based.
Right.
I haven't worked my quads in so long. So, but I like you, I start with, if I'm deadlifting, I'll start with deadlifts, then I'll go in and do a hip thrust and then I'll go and do a little bit more volume. But like, I might only do 4 sets of 5 reps or 4 sets of 3 reps. And I know, see, that's where I'm different than a lot of bikini girls because I don't like to do a lot of volume.
Right.
Not with my heavier lifts because I don't want to hurt myself. And lately I have not been deadlifting. I have been, but like kettlebell, not like, but when I deadlift, I also sumo deadlift. I don't conventional deadlift, but when I sumo deadlift heavy, it's like 200.
Right.
For 3. It's not a lot.
No, it doesn't have to. Well, I like my sweet
not
spot,
a lot of reps.
No, my sweet spot is going to be 6 to 10. Even when my whole thing is like, do not fail at 6. But like, if you're going over 10, you're not putting enough weight on. That's just how I look at it.
Right.
Personally. So like I'll normally get around 6, 7, or 8. And if I'm able to get a good 10, then I know, okay, I need to add weight and probably do another set. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. If I'm not going heavy, I'll go higher rep. But
Right, for sure. So that's basically my approach in a nutshell. Like I'm only going to do 4 exercises. I learned that I was overworking myself, which I think is common when you get into this game
oh
where
yeah.
it's
Oh
like I'm
yeah.
doing chest and I'm doing like 10 different exercises. And Micah actually is the person who was like, why,
Dude,
like,
you're doing too
science?
much.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's just how I've always done it. He was like, but why?
Right.
And I'm like, I really don't know. I can't answer that besides this
Because
is what
that's
I
what one
know.
of your coaches before taught you, right?
Right.
I mean, when I was bodybuilding, that's what we did. We did 5 different exercises for lots of volume. And I remember when I was in the gym and I was really getting burnt out, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm doing too much. I shouldn't be in here for an hour and a half.
Right.
Like 45 minutes max is all I need.
Right.
And I've noticed more growth in the last 2 years than I've noticed pretty much my entire career.
Right.
And I've been doing this for 30 years.
And that's crazy
So,
because, like you said, you're getting, and I don't say this in the wrong way, but you're getting older and better.
right. And I'm not supposed to be, I'm
No,
not supposed to
right.
be putting on muscle size. And I'm like, whatever. People look at me and they're like, well, why are you so lean? How do you do that all year round? And I'm like, my body is used to doing this.
Right.
My off-season diet is pretty much my in-season diet.
Right. So let me
Which,
go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Finish. Finish. You can finish.
No, I was just gonna say, which is, I don't know how people take that when I say that, but if
Mhm.
they ask me a question, I'm gonna answer it honestly. And
Truth.
I mean, I work my ass off, don't get me wrong, but I'm never stopping. I'm going, going, going. So, between the kids, between work, between my own practice, between bodybuilding, taking care of 2 dogs, see my doggies,
I see him.
and everything else that I do, it's like, I never stop.
Right.
So my metabolism is always on fire.
That's good though. I mean, that's how it is. So I wanted to ask you a question on your thought process about this, the psychological aspect of bodybuilding and performance,
Mhm,
because one of
mhm.
the things that you said, and this is one thing I've been talking to a lot of people about, you said that everybody's different, and we all know that.
Right.
And so the example I normally use is cardio. Okay. Like, remember 4, 5, 6 years ago, hit cardio was like
Oh
everything.
yeah.
Oh my God,
I did, I did that.
this is the best
I
fat burner, and it's gonna do, and it like, and then once we get more research, science is like, yeah, this really doesn't do much more than steady state, except it's a convenience thing. So some people enjoy hit, I don't. So if Ryan, my coach right now, was like, hey, I want you to do 10 sprints, you're not gonna get the best out of me because I hate running like with a passion.
I
So
love
same.
sprinting.
So yeah, I hated it, and I even in college, like playing sports, I hated it. So same thing with me for lifting. Like when I go into the gym, I call it. I tell people this: I'm pissing on everything, and what I mean is like I'm the gorilla in the jungle, and I am dominating everything. So you all can see, like I'm that guy. So when I go do bench, that's my focus. It's not. Yeah, I'm lifting heavy, but obviously, people are going to be watching. They see this kid putting on all this weight. That's what makes me go. Like, that's what I'm in there for. So I feel like I get more out of that than if you were to say, hey,
Right.
go over there, do dumbbell presses with 3-second eccentric for sets of 15. I'm not interested, so I'm not gonna go that hard. Do you think that's something that you deal with, and do you think that's something that people should think about more when they're putting together their programs and when they're working?
You mean as far as whether they should be doing hit or whether they should be doing dumbbells or whether they should be doing heavy or going into a gym?
I would
Because you
say,
touched on something that I know that I do. If I go into the gym, I'm going to train way heavier
right.
than I do if I stay at home.
I would
Like
say,
I'll go out and I'll start benching and I'll bench 135.
right,
Why the heck do I need to bench 135? I don't,
right. So
but I'll do it.
I guess I'm looking more the psychology aspect, the way we're thinking. Do you think that people are missing their mental when approaching bodybuilding, when they're approaching lifting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see people going to the gym and just go through the motions. They're probably doing something they don't really want to be doing.
Right.
So yeah, I do agree with that. I
Okay.
think that I think that has a whole big deal to it. If I know that I'm going to go into the gym and squat, my whole demeanor changes.
Right. Right.
And when I do go into the gym, I don't talk to anybody.
Mhm.
I mean, if you come up and talk to me, I'll talk to you, but I don't talk until I'm done.
Right.
Unless I see someone I haven't seen for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be rude,
Right.
but it's like I go in, I keep my head down, I get my work done, and I don't care who's watching. I don't care who's making fun of me. I just don't really care.
Yeah.
But,
So that's been my whole thought. Like, we see coaches or people give programs or whatever. And like, don't get me wrong, it's our job to do things that are uncomfortable. Like, that's what bodybuilding is. But I'm also at the same point of like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to get the maximum performance that you can put in. I just don't see how it's possible. So like, even with you saying like you like to lift heavy, for years you weren't doing that and now you are, or you're focusing more towards that and you're growing more now. Like, is the fact that you're enjoying that giving you a possible extra boost of performance that's getting more out of that muscle and that work?
Right. No, I totally agree with that. I would say yes.
Okay.
I would definitely say yes. I'm doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And yeah, I got to get up at 3:30 in the morning. And I think, oh gosh, if I could just train at 9 a.m., I would be a beast.
Right.
And I probably would be, but I'll settle for me.
Yeah. Do you ever see yourself stopping?
No.
No.
I see myself stopping competing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to be the 16-year-old still on stage competing. Although,
if you look like that,
but
and you're 60, I don't see why not.
You know, I remember when I was in my 20s and I was in college and I was training with the guy that I was dating at the time that was the bodybuilder, and I was training for a show. There was this 56-year-old and she was a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And she had muscles. It wasn't quite like me. She wasn't as feminine as a lot of the women are. Right. But I was like, damn, if I can be like that when I'm 50, I'll still be doing it.
There you go. I literally met a guy at our gym, older guy. I think he said he was in his 60s, arms like a men's physique competitor, great shape, looks young. And I just walked up to him and I was like, sir, like, I just want you to know I aspire to do what you do one day. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the fact that you're in here still, like, you're beating so many odds. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I just, that's what I want. I was like, I want a career in this prolonged that I can keep doing this. And then we just started talking, but yeah, it was the same approach. It's just like, why stop?
Right. I think that the reason I've stayed in it so long is just because I keep evolving. Mm-hmm. I was in bodybuilding, then I switched to figure. Then I did fitness for a little bit, fitness and figure. Then I even did physique, women's physique when it first came out, because I loved bodybuilding and I loved the routines and doing all that stuff. And my coach was like, you know, you are a natural bodybuilder. And they tooted it at the time to be natural bodybuilding. That's not what it turned out to be
at all.
But the first national show out of 50 girls, I took 7th, and I was like, woohoo! I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I went to another national show. I went to junior nationals, mm-hmm. and they just looked at me and they said, go back to figure. I said, okay.
Right.
So I went back to figure and I stayed in figure, did fitness, won the Ohio. Took 2nd the first year I did it, and then won it the 2nd year I did it. Mm-hmm. And then decided that I was going to go out with a bang and not do that anymore because I was in my 40s already and I didn't want to hurt myself.
Right.
Fitness by far was the most challenging. It was the most rewarding of all of the divisions that I've ever done. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. I hated that I was dragging my kids, who were very young at the time, to the gym, to the gymnastics place, to the coaching here, the coaching there. They were spending their summers inside, and I was like, I can't do that to them ever again. So I just stopped. But because their summer was spent inside with mom while she did her stuff.
Right.
They were so patient. They were good kids.
Right.
But they still are good kids. They're older now, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing, honestly, just hearing what you're doing you know, and then the fact that, like I said, you're your age you are, you look like you do. I wouldn't be able to tell that. And I mean that too. And
Thank you.
we've met before, like at the
Mhm.
seminar and stuff, and I did not know, I had no clue that you were the age you were. So it's just funny, but it's a good, I guess, thing to look forward to if I stay in this and try to stay healthy, that maybe I can keep some youth and keep going.
It's doable.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, we're in bikini. We're winning shows now.
Yes, I've won 4 pro shows.
4 pro shows. What's the
3 with
ultimate?
Ryan, 1 on my own.
Okay. What's the ultimate goal?
You know, obviously everybody wants to go to the Arnold or to the Olympia. And I'm going to put this out here now. So this is me being accountable.
Right.
I'm going to apply to do the Arnold next year.
Awesome.
I've won 4 pro shows. Granted, they're masters, but there's still 4 pro shows. I won the overall at the Arnold. I should have gone pro then, but they didn't start that till the very next year.
Right.
And if you go pro the year you win it, you get an automatic invitation.
Yep.
So I'm going to petition to see if I can get in. And you know, I was talking to Sandy about this after Masters, after Pittsburgh Pro Masters. And she's like, what do you have to lose? And I'm like, I don't. They can say no. That's the only thing they can do. I mean, so I'm just going to give it a try, because I don't think anyone bikini wise in their 50s has ever done it.
Right.
And yeah, they may not even look at me, but
it's the Arnold.
It's my goal.
Yeah, it's the
my
Arnold.
goal.
Like
I'm a hometown girl. I live
Right.
in Columbus, Ohio. I've grown up with the Arnold. I used to be on the medical team at the Arnold for several years in a row, and then I competed in the Arnold and won. So
if you make the Arnold, or if you get in, I'll be there.
good.
I've never been there before. So like, and I've been wanting to go. So if you go, I'll have a reason for sure to be like, oh, I'm gonna go support the team, support Angela, and I'll go.
You can stay in the luxury of the house. I only live probably 10 minutes from the venue.
Okay.
I live in Upper Arlington, but you jump onto the freeway and you're downtown in 10 minutes.
For sure. All right. We got a deal on the podcast. Once you
right.
get in there, I'll come. So, and what another thing I wanted to talk about. So you are ridiculously shredded. And you come a little bit tighter than most bikini people that I've seen, most bikini women that I've seen.
Thank you.
Do you think that that's
take it as a compliment?
No, that is a compliment. Do you think that that's a plus for you or a disadvantage when being on stage?
Well, you know, it's a catch-22. Like, we had to soften me up big time the day before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was eating fats to soften me up, and so we did that in the evening, and then we did it again in the morning. And so I was worried because I've never done fats, and every time I've done fats, it's softened me up too much. So me being the age I am, there's a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
I have to come in lean in order to look the way they want me to, but yet if I come in too lean, I look skinny.
Right.
Or ripped or shredded.
Right.
And I genetically have big quads
mm-hmm.
that split. I can hide it when I pose, but they were really split the day before the show. And well, Ryan gave me good advice and I took it, and it paid off. So
got the W.
Yeah.
Yeah, got the W. So, and Tampa's next. So when do you leave?
I leave tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. And
tomorrow around 4:30.
4:30, and then you're there for what, the next 4 or 5 days, I guess.
Yep, I come back on Sunday.
On Sunday, okay. So,
but not till Sunday night. So
right. So are you gonna enjoy some Tampa Bay food? Get out a little bit, or is it still quiet time for you?
No, I'll be enjoying. I was planning on doing the Nashville Fit Show,
mm-hmm.
August 19th.
Let me check.
I think it is 7th. It's that weekend, but I had to back out because of the fact that, I think the 17th was when I was going down, and I think it's the 19th or the 20th.
The 20th. I just looked. So the 20th is a Friday, so I would assume it was the 20th.
20 must have been the 21st then.
Yeah.
But my son, he's going to be a freshman at Ohio Wesleyan, and he moves into his dorm that day, that weekend.
I'm
So-
pretty sure and you said this, my old basketball coach in college went to Ohio Wesleyan. I'm about
Did he?
100% sure. Yeah, because I have a coach. Hold on. One of my college coaches, he's literally like my favorite coach, one of my favorite coaches of all time, but he coached at a high school. So he lives in Greenfield.
Okay.
In the high school, it was Chillicothe.
Chillicothe.
So he was one, and then my other coach, Coach Besta, and Coach Hart, I think they all came from Ohio Wesleyan. I'm about 100% sure.
It is a very, very good private school. My son is going to run track for them, and
Oh, that's cool.
he's going into pre-med, so he wants to be a doctor. He wants to his father's a physician, but his father's an ophthalmologist.
Right.
And I'm a PT, so he kind of wanted to do something kind of crosswise. So he wants to go into sports med.
You guys are like, good Lord, the genetic pool. Golly.
Both my boys are really athletic.
Right.
They get their basketball skills obviously from their dad, not from me, because I can't shoot a basketball worth anything. Hand-eye coordination.
Right.
But I'm a good sprinter. I love sprinting, and I think he might get that from me.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that. When it comes to genetics, like my dad's 6'5". Now he's 298 pounds. He was hitting 450 for a while, 470, been able to lose weight, play football at Oklahoma University. Like he was a stud. And it's like your son, the firstborn, is 5'8.5". My little sister is 6'1".
Oh my
little brother is 6'4" on my dad's side. Yeah, and so that genetic pool skipped me until now. And it's like I can put on muscle or just size by looking at stuff. And I'm like, this is the only thing you gave me. Out of all the things you could have did, this is the only thing you gave me. So it's crazy.
I don't know which parent I got my genetics from. My dad played football and basketball. I don't know what my mom was born in Italy, and she came to America when she was 16 or something like that, and grew up in an orphanage. So she's pretty athletic. I get my looks from my mom.
There you go.
Actually, it's a good cross from my mom and my dad, but I get my skin. I get my skin from my mom. I'll give her that. She gave me good skin.
I look like my mom, but my mom's a pretty woman. I have to tell people that because it's weird to see. But if I put a side by side, you'd be like, oh yeah, like twin.
Yeah. But
my last question. It's important. It's an important one.
Okay.
You got these Italian roots. Can you cook?
I can.
So
now,
we might
ask
have to
me
test
if I
that
do
also.
though. I do cook. I know how to cook homemade Italian stuff, but the few times I've done it for my kids, the comment was, "Can I put some brown sugar in this?" And I was just like,
"So they're not used to
what?
Like the authentic."
I slaved for 4 hours over this damn stove, and you want to put sugar in my sauce? Are you kidding me? So no, they would rather have a box of mac and cheese.
So could I get a plate of something at some point?
Possibly.
I'll pay for it.
We'll see. We'll see if I have to do if I get the honor of doing the Arnold.
There you go. Because authentic, like it's a difference. I didn't realize this until I went to a friend's and it was like a real Italian feast. And I'm like, this ain't Olive Garden. Like this is for real. Same thing with Spanish food. Like I've had like authentic tamales, and I'm just like, what? This is nothing compared to what I like thought a tamale was. Right. So that's why I asked. When you got a last name like you do, you have to be able to do something.
Yeah, my mom's maiden name, well, her full name, her Italian name, she changed it when she came to America, but it was Alfreda Gabriella Ruscilli.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It kind of rolls off your tongue.
It really does. It really does.
And then my name is Angelina Ruscilli.
Ruscilli. And that's your maiden?
That's my maiden name.
That's your maiden name. Okay.
And I go by my maiden name still now because I'm not married, obviously, but officially I'm still Kegler because the school was going to make me show papers and prove that I was my kids' mom
Right.
every year. So I was like, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah. No,
So I didn't.
I get it. I understand. I remember, I mean, she's my ex-wife now, but like she changed her whole name when we got married. And so like it went from her name to my last name plus the name that she was going by that she legally changed. So now that all this is going on, it's like a crap race for her to have to go back because she's Native American. So like
Right.
you have to go back to there to get the right, like, and put this here. I'm like, hey, that's all you. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
They make it really, really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me to go back and legally change my name back to just Ruscilli. I mean, when I did it, I changed my middle name, Katrina, to Ruscilli.
Mhm.
So I always went by Angela Ruscilli Kegler. It just was not hyphenated because my husband at the time was like, "You're not hyphenating your name."
Right.
Oh, really? We stayed together for 17 years. I tried.
Yeah, there you go.
But
So we're gonna go. We've been talking for a good minute, so I'm gonna end it there. Is there anything you want to
Okay.
say?
no, I'm excited. I'm excited to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
No, this was fun. I would actually like to possibly do another one of these sooner after
Sure.
Tampa Pro, so we can
Sure.
talk about like that process and really dig into like the show, the feedback, how it went leading up to. I think it'd be cool for people to get that perspective too.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great.
All right. So before we get off, for everybody watching, thank you for watching, Miss Angela. I appreciate having you on. You've been awesome. For those listening, I know you're enjoying hearing our voices. I will be linking all her information in the description as far as like Instagram. If you guys want to go follow, support, get her followers up, keep updated with the show. And that'll be it. Y'all have a great one.